Hi everyone, thank you for joining me today on Tired Mom Plays. Today we're going to be looking at Planet Zoo for the first time. I am so stoked. I have been waiting a while, watching all the playthroughs, and let's just jump right in and create me in Planet Zoo. Alrighty, here we are, editing the character to start with. It looks like they have a very low selection of presets, which is unfortunate. I was kind of looking for a little more variety in the hairstyles at least. But yeah, ponytail seems to be the one I kept going back to. So I think in the end that's the one I chose. And they have very limited selection on outfits as well. They have no shoes, which is kind of a irritation for me. I don't really like the shoes that are defaulted. Alrighty, here's where they had you place your HQ. I decided to settle in the US, in New York-ish area, since that's where I'm from. And then I sat here for a few minutes deciding whether or not to do the career or the franchise mode first. I chose to do the career first. At least the first scenario, to kind of get an idea of the game mechanics, since I haven't actually played the game before. So, yep, here comes the first scenario. So the Goodwin house. Renovated and renamed after it's purchased by Bernard Goodwin. Difficulty. Medium is fine. We'll start anew. So.
Sorry about that. I have a habit of slipping back into the Planko language. It's good to finally meet you in person. I'm Bernard, although I insist you call me Bernie. The only person who calls me Bernard is my wife. And even then, only when I've tracked elephant dung into the carpets.
So this game looks amazing.
As you know,
I will definitely say.
Zoos, but I always like to show people the ropes here at my home. This is the first zoo I ever opened, and a source of great pride for me. And prize, thanks to a lion.
I have been a big fan of all the zoo games that have come out, like Zoo Tycoon was my jam, till my copy stopped working. Zoo Tycoon 2 is fantastic, but I have high hopes for this one. High expectations.
It's up to you to finish everything off. Don't worry though, I'm not completely throwing you into the deep end. My
that's
headkeeper, Nancy Jones, will be lending a helping hand. Oh, she's a hard worker, and she'll expect you to be too. But I'm sure you'll get along like a house on fire, or even better, one that isn't on fire. Less shouting that way.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
from that rosy, fresh face of yours,
our franchises are not going to look this nice.
Good. Now, I hope you're ready to ditch your diploma because we're about to get really hands-on.
Okay.
But before we begin the real work, how about we familiarize you with the zoo by learning how to fly around it and visiting some of our beautiful animals.
Objectives.
We'll start by popping over and having a look-see at the grizzly bears in their habitat.
Alright. So, okay, here we go.
Did you know that grizzly bears, also known
Oh,
as
sweet.
Ursus
They use the
arctos
ASW
horribilis,
keys.
can hibernate for up to 7 months a year. Oh, but then again, given the chance, I think a lot of people would do that too.
Low-key.
Select one of the bears and you'll bring up its information panel.
Where? Oh, there you are. Alright.
This is where you can find out all kinds of information about your animal. The most
Okay,
important
it's male,
thing being its
not on
overall
contraceptives.
welfare.
8.5
You'll learn more
years.
about animal welfare today as we go through your objectives. But for
Okay.
now, let's enjoy this magnificent animal. Why don't you select the camera at the bottom of its information panel?
Ooh, there it is. The microphone actually almost covered it.
See now, this is a fantastic way to get a close look at your animals. You can also get this view of an animal by simply double-clicking on it.
Alright.
Okay, when you're ready, let's pop over to the other side of the zoo and take a look at the lions. I've marked their location for you to find.
Alright, so camera is definitely going to take some getting used to. I'm not really sure how to zoom. Oh, I don't know if I'm zooming out or zooming sideways. Alright. I was not paying attention. Let's see, controls are essentials. Basic controls. So select, cancel, pan camera. Scroll wheel is the zoom. Okay. Raise camera E. Lower camera Q. Reset camera orientation is home button. I don't know what the... Oh. Ha! Alright. Okay, so quick tip, they have a help menu. So if you can't remember the controls or you're unsure of the basic camera functions, there you go.
Leo, or the West African lion to you and me. Lions are the most social of the big cats, and there can be as many as 40 lions in a
visiting
pride,
players.
although prides of that size are pretty rare.
Cool beans.
As Bernie would say, those lions are awesome, which is precisely why I handle training instead these days. Anyway, how about we get started on those objectives? Come on, let's head over to an empty habitat and see what needs doing there.
Alright. So now we gotta find an empty habitat. Oh, there it is. I'm glad they make it glowing.
It's a lovely space for animals, but it's missing a certain something. Well, two somethings. Warthogs. So I'd like you to adopt a pair of them. To adopt animals, we need to open the animal market, which is in the animal trading section.
Okay. Animal market.
There we are. A pair of perfectly splendid warthogs for our zoo. Just click on them and select Adopt from the side menu.
Okay.
Normally the animal exchange would be full of animals, but I've emptied out the market while you learn how it works.
Okay.
The last thing I need is you accidentally ordering a dozen elephants.
Oh, come now. That would be...
When you adopt an animal, it's automatically placed in a trade centre where they're held until you're ready to move them into their habitat, which, as it happens, you are. So how about you move them into their new home?
Sweet.
When you ask for an animal to be moved into a habitat, your caretakers will go to the trade centre, collect your animal, and deliver them to your selected habitat. I mark the trade centre's location, so let's go and watch the caretakers in action.
Alright, trade center over here.
Well, as you can see, those caretakers don't hang about. They'll move those animals to their destination as fast as possible.
I thought it was the keepers that did that.
Place the animals into quarantine before moving them into a habitat. But I am assured by a person of good standing that these warthogs are in the very rudest of health. Right, let's get the warthog's habitat finished up so we can keep them nice and happy. You see, each animal in the zoo has an overall welfare statistic, basically how happy they are. And that overall welfare statistic is itself comprised of 4 different areas: nutrition, social health, habitat, and enrichment. Luckily, if you select an animal, you'll bring up their animal welfare information panel, which we saw earlier, where you can see how they're doing. That way, you'll know exactly what areas need to be addressed. Don't worry if that's a lot to remember. You can always check the Zoopedia for more information.
Okay. So...
Let's start by making sure we're taking care of the warthog's nutrition welfare. To do this, we'll need to place a food station and a drinking station. Now, each animal requires a different type of feeding station. And for the warthogs, it's a small feeding trough. So let's add one of those and a water bowl.
Alright, small feeding trough. And a water bottle.
Animals also require stimulation to keep them happy.
Nope.
Let's add a lovely mud bath for the warthogs to roll around in.
Alright.
That bath will
Well,
get
see,
you
it's kind of
the
annoying that they
enrichment
just
welfare,
pop it up
specifically
there.
toy enrichment welfare.
They don't actually show you how to use the filters, but I guess it's on all.
Nice work. You've got a knack for
So,
this, I see. Now,
yeah.
our contractor had to leave in a hurry, so this place is in a pharaoh state. Unfinished thingamajigs and what's-its all over the shop. But the first thing we need to finish is the ostrich habitat. It's over near the hippos.
Alright. So, ostrich habitat. There we are. Okay. So, how did we...
Before we actually start building our ostrich habitat, let's pause the game. Just click the pause button in the bottom right corner.
Pause. Got you.
That's more like it. A quick break. Sometimes it's a good idea to pause the game whilst you're doing something which requires your concentration, because it'll stop the zoo spinning out of control while you're looking the other way. Let's keep the game paused while we get this ostrich habitat built. Okay, job number 1 here is to add a habitat gate before we complete the barrier. Every habitat needs a habitat gate. After all, how else would the keepers get in and out? Just make sure it's hooked up to the path so the keepers can reach it.
Alright. Habitat gate. Oh, there we go. Outside placement area. Oh, there we go.
Right, let's complete the perimeter barrier so we can adopt us some ostriches.
Apparently I'm
I've marked out
really
an area
bad
for you to use, so I'd like you to finish off the perimeter using the brick barrier.
at following directions. Okay, now I've seen some tutorials where you can just stretch. Alright. Like I said, I have been watching way too many videos on this game, preparing myself. Alright, I know. Can't you? You can. There we go. Isn't it connected? Alright. Habitat, complete the habitat. It is connected to the path. Did I not get it close enough to the path? Alright. Now which basics? Select, cancel. How is that? Oh, panning. Okay. So rotate camera. Oh, there we go. Alright, sorry if I make some of you guys sick. I'm still figuring out the controls. Alright, so I've completed the boundary. I thought. Did I not? And it's hugging the path. Oh. Alright. There we go.
Good work.
There we go.
Remember, before you can place animals in any habitat, it
Alright,
has to have a
well, it's
full
not pretty.
loop of connected barrier. Now, you've probably noticed that guests can't actually see into this habitat at the moment. At least not without a stepladder. But seeing as they're banned, I'd like you to select a piece of barrier and swap out the brick for a glass barrier so the guests can see in.
Alright. So if I get out of here. And go all. Okay, so I'm speeding this section up because it took me way too long to figure this out. And I figured out later on what had happened was they wanted like half of the enclosure to have windows, not the whole thing. And I was trying to do the whole thing. It was really frustrating, really annoying. So yeah, and it took me a good, I want to say like 20-30 minutes to figure out why it wasn't working. So yeah, here's a tip for you when you're going through the tutorials. Pay attention to the directions because they probably have a hint in there. I really didn't. I was just kind of like, oh, let's just play the game and I'll be this amazing builder in it. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be the case anymore. The controls are extremely hard to get used to for me. I haven't gamed on my PC in like forever. So, yeah, so I've been doing a lot of gaming on my Switch and PlayStation. So the controls for me are hard to get used to again. I have done like a lot of Sims as well. Not recently, but in the past. And, yeah, it was just a pain. A royal pain in the butt.
Come for the zoo, so make sure you remember them.
Okay.
Now, before we adopt our ostriches, you should click the play button. After all, if the game's paused, then so are our caretakers, which will make it a bit tricky for them to deliver the ostriches, eh?
Alright. Adopt and place
By the way,
4 new
as well as
common
pausing the game,
ostriches.
you can speed the game up by clicking on the fast forward button. It'll run everything at 2 times and 5 times faster. It can be useful, especially if you're waiting for money to accumulate or for animals to be delivered to your habitat.
Okay.
Personally, I use it when I'm waiting for a brew to finish. Alright, you've finished the habitat, so it's high time we adopted those ostriches, don't you think?
Animal trading.
Let's get 4 of them in
Apparently I'm a little faster than the game. You'll find animals for adoption. Adopt. Adopt. Okay. Oh, hold on. Animal Trade Center. Animal storage. 4. Sent to zoo.
While we wait for them to be collected by the caretakers and brought to the habitat, you should get it ready for them. Add
Okay.
a suitable feeding station, water station, and an appropriate food enrichment item. It's
Alright.
often best to place things like enrichments and feeding stations near to the habitat perimeter, so guests can get a really good view of the animals.
Species. Okay, so you can do more of the sorting and shit. So I've seen, like I said, I've seen water troughs small. Alright. And there we go.
Oh,
Cool
good
beans.
to see the ostriches have somewhere they can really stretch their legs. Did you know they can actually run at 43 miles per hour? Oh, heaven forbid they ever
Oy,
escape.
oy, oy.
The speed camera fines alone would bankrupt us.
Well, Bernie certainly seems impressed. Did he do his speed camera joke? Every time we get an ostrich. So, now we've made the ostriches' lives a bit better, let's do the same for the keepers, shall we? To make it easier for the keepers to feed the ostriches and hippos, we should build a new keeper hut.
Alright.
Keeper huts are where the keepers prepare the food for animals. So they
Alright.
should be placed near to the habitats to make sure the keepers don't waste their time
Facilities.
walking when they should be looking after the animals.
Alright.
You'll need to rotate the keeper hut to get it to connect up to the path.
Z. Alright. X. Turn. Alright, I want to turn it. No. Rotate. I just want it to rotate. Hair. Now Z. Alright. Maybe an invalid rotation. Seriously? So Z. What? How is that invalid? Alright, so confirm placement. Why does it keep saying invalid rotation? Surface move. Okay, this is like really annoying. Rotate 90 degrees. Okay. There we go. There we go. Jeez.
This keeper hut only has space
Apparently
for
I'm
one
retarded.
keeper, but the larger keeper hut can allow multiple keepers to prepare food at the same time. Oh, but bear in mind that keeper huts and other staff
Alright.
facilities shouldn't be placed near to
Paste,
areas where there are
snap.
lots of guests.
Reset
Guests
height
don't like
shift.
seeing facility buildings,
Oh,
and
good
it
lord.
can affect their happiness.
I'm not gonna remember all
Negatively.
this.
In
Okay.
case that wasn't clear. Something that all facilities, shops, and a whole host of other objects need is power. And that obviously includes your newly built keeper hut. So let's place a transformer next to it, shall we? Now, the reason everything has gone blue is because you're using the power heat map. This map allows you to see what is and what isn't powered in your zoo. So once you've placed your transformer, you can click in the bottom left to turn the heat map off. Lovely work.
There we go.
Now the keepers can start using the hut to prepare food, and thanks to where you've put it, they won't need to walk very far to deliver it to the ostriches and hippos. Let's get on to your next objective then. Bengal tigers. We want to adopt some, but I'm afraid there's nothing ready for them yet. Head on over to the plot of land I've marked out. It's not too far away.
Alright, Bengal tigers. Oh, over there. Alright.
Righty, your next job is to build a habitat from scratch. And concrete and glass, I expect. So go ahead and build it. Just make sure that the habitat includes that big hole we've dug. Oh, and don't forget to add a habitat gate to the barrier.
Alright.
Oh, and make sure the guests will be able to see the tigers.
6, 2, 5. Well, we'll go with 6. Alright. Alright, need it shorter. Rotate again. Okay. Pull it back just a smidge. There we go. All the way to the edge, I think. Obstructed. Short one. Alright, come on. There. And habitat gate.
Now, Bernie takes safety
Sweet.
very seriously at his zoos, so we should probably make sure those tigers can't jump out of their habitat, don't you think? The way we'll do it is by changing the height of the habitat's barrier. Okay then, you
Okay.
should start by double-clicking the habitat barrier, which will take you into barrier editing mode.
Alright.
Great. Now highlight the entire perimeter of the habitat. You can do that by clicking and dragging the barrier selection tool.
Alright.
Now you've got all of the perimeter selected, you can increase the height of it by clicking and dragging the barrier height tool upwards. You'll want to make sure it reaches a height of at least 3.7 meters.
Ooh, I did it way high.
Now that the habitat is in place, don't forget to put down a donation box near to your viewing areas. We need every dollar we can get. Especially as these tigers aren't exactly eating instant noodles for lunch.
Alright. Two glass. And a glass window here. There you go. And then a donation box. Thank you, game. Thank you, thank you.
Okay, that's the habitat boundary complete, the habitat gate in place, and most importantly, the tigers won't be able to jump out of it anymore. I think it's
Yep.
time we adopted those tigers.
Alright, animal trading. Jeez. Here we go. Animal storage. Sent to zoo.
Whilst our trusty
What the-
caretakers collect and deliver the tigers, let's take a look at preparing the habitat for their arrival. We'll start with the basics. Add a
Alright.
suitable feeding station for them.
Okay.
This time, instead of adding a water bowl, let's try something different. Some animals need a pool in their habitat so they can go for a swim, but they can also use it to drink from. All you have to do is make sure the banks of the pool have a gentle slope so they can easily get a nice, refreshing drink. There's already a pool excavated, but you still need to fill it with water. You should do that by
terrain.
going into terrain and selecting the
Hello.
water tool.
Water.
Yes,
Alright.
that'll do nicely. Of course, just like the warthogs and ostriches, these tigers will also need some enrichment. Why don't you add some suitable toy and food enrichment items into their habitat? Okay, it's really starting to take shape. Now, the tigers will need a shelter in their habitat so they can hide from the guests, or more likely the bad weather. Although given that we're in England, you might want to think of that just as normal weather. Go on, add a shelter to their habitat. You can either build one from various suitable bits and bobs, or if you like, just pop down the blueprint that I've already built for you.
Oh, yes.
Oh, poor Dabs. I'm sure it can't have escaped your attention that the tigers look a bit miffed. That's because they aren't too keen on the type of terrain in their habitat. Select a tiger and bring up its information panel.
Alright.
Rightio. Click on the terrain tab. That way you can view the terrain information and see how they feel about the different
Tabs.
types of terrain.
Terrain.
That'll tell you what the tigers need more of or less
Oh,
of in this
okay.
habitat.
So they don't like as
Okay
much
then,
long
open the
grass.
terrain editing tool, select painting, and give them some more soil. Yes, that should help with the habitat parts of their
Sand,
welfare.
soil.
need plants and trees from their own biome or continent. You know, deserts, savannas, or Asia, Europe, that sort of thing.
Okay.
It looks like these tigers need a few more
Nature.
plants in their habitat. To get a perfect fit, use plants from the rainforest and temperate biomes that are native to Asia.
Okay.
Although if you have to, you can get away with using just one or the other. The
Trees.
tigers will also want a certain amount of their habitat to be covered by those plants. To find out
Alright,
which
so
plants to use
grassland,
and how
temperate,
many,
tropical.
select a tiger and go to the Environment tab.
Continent.
Now,
Asia.
as you can see, some of the plants currently in the
Biome.
habitat aren't quite right for the tiger, like the wattle bushes. You can
Grassland,
remove them
temperate,
if you want.
tropical.
You can find all of the plants you need in the nature section, and you can use the filters to only show the types of plants you want to see. In this case, that's plants from the rainforest or temperate biomes.
Alright. We'll probably do a lot better stuff once we do our own. I'm just still trying to figure out the controls. Sweet.
They say that good fences make good neighbors. I guess that's doubly true when one of the neighbors is a Bengal tiger. Still, those tigers look so happy that I doubt they'd leave, even if you did poke a hole in their fence. Oh, but for heaven's sake, don't test that theory.
Right, let's head over to the Indian peafowls. I've been told that we need to improve their social welfare.
Alright. Peafowls.
Now then, just find one of the peafowls and select them to open their information panel. Then we can have a good gander at how they're doing. Although technically, I suppose gandering would just be for geese.
Social. 43%. Too few adults and juveniles in this animal society
Expand
group.
their social welfare, and we can get a bit more detail.
Alright, socials
Now,
up here.
they've clearly got plenty of space, and they're not stressed.
Two.
But it looks like their social group isn't quite right. So let's find
Okay,
out more.
cool.
Click on the social tab at the top of their information panel to see what's wrong.
They want more adults, dude.
Right. As you can see, the peafowls need their population to be larger.
Okay.
To solve this little problem, you'll need to adopt 3 more female peafowls. Off you pop to the animal market then.
Alright. Alrighty. And then 2, 3. Send to zoo.
Good work
Whoa.
on those peafowls. I expect they'll be delivered soon. But sadly, it sounds like our snow leopard is a bit grumpy. Let's head over there and see what's wrong with her.
Alright, which way am I going? Way over here. Oop.
Just like people, animals can suffer from stress if things aren't quite right. You know, like when you see someone put in the milk before the tea bag. In the case of these snow leopards, they're a bit stressed by their lack of privacy. You can lower their stress levels by swapping out the normal glass barrier by their cave for one-way glass. It's not a cheap option, but I think they're worth the expense, don't you? This will give the snow leopards somewhere to go when they want to get away from the prying eyes of the guests. Of course, when an animal isn't in its natural biome, it's probably going to be too hot or too cold. Unsurprisingly for the snow leopards, it's too hot. Even with the terrible British weather, you should help cool it down by adding some coolers to their habitat. But let's start by opening up the temperature heat map and having a look-see at the temperature in the leopard's habitat.
Temperature. Oh.
As you can see, we already have one cooler in there. Let's pop some more down and get as much of the habitat as chilly as we can. Luckily
Okay.
for us, this habitat already has power, but you'll need to make sure of that in the future. Just so you know, if any part of a habitat is powered, then the whole habitat will be powered. You can find heat maps for all sorts of helpful things, so do be sure to explore them and make good use of them. It'll take a little while for the temperature to adjust once you've added coolers or heaters, but now we've got the coolers in, we can address the leopards' terrain welfare. You see, what the leopards really want in here is snow and rock, so let's make that happen.
Hello. Let's just see what I'm doing.
And then, all of that should give you a pretty good understanding of how to make animals happy. So I'd like you to go and check on all the other animals in the zoo and fix up any issues with their habitats. That'll increase the average welfare of the animals across the whole zoo. And that average welfare is a very important statistic.
Very important.
Now, to quickly see how all your animals are doing in the zoo, you should go into zoo management and then into the animals section.
Zoo management, yes. Animals.
As you can see, this list shows you the animals' overall welfare. So if something's amiss, then you can quickly pop over to them using the locate button. Right, I'm off for a cuppa while you make sure all the animals are well looked after.
How? Oh, locate. Alright, so what's wrong? Enrichment and hard shelter. Alright, where is Speedy? I need... Oh, over here. Like, which one am I supposed to be looking at? Is this just... habitat? Do... it's a mud bath. They want a hard shelter. So I'm just gonna do edit. Sink her down. Did that help your shelter? To cover all animals. Alright, there is a duplicate. And I did it wrong. X. Oops. Get over here. Move. And then X. And down you go. Back it up. Alright, how's that? Still nothing? What the heck? Is it too low into the ground? Ooh. Son of a bitch. I don't know if it's too low. I think they can get under there. Let's put habitat, beds and shelters. Did that fix it? Why won't it? There we go. Shelter space. All right. How's that? Insufficient shelter space to cover all animals. Again? Seriously? Guard shelter's good. Enrichment 4. What is this, a Galapagos tortoise? Oh, no, giant tortoise. Species. There we are. Alright. Enrichment. Okay, and then their terrain, they want more long grass, more sand. Ooh, too big. Oh, okay, I want more sand. Okay. Are we good now? Looks like it. Alright, so zoo. Dehydrated. Why are you dehydrated? I thought you could call a vet. Nope, apparently it doesn't let me. Nutrition is bad. Goalkeeper to habitat. Do we have... There you go. Get yourself a drink. You won't drink out of a pond. Okay. So there's that one. Plains zebra. Habitat is not good. What's a terrain? So they want short grasslands. Alrighty, so I decided to speed this last bit up here. Basically, I was just messing with the terrain, trying to get the zebras what they wanted. It was interesting getting a feel for the terrain tools. Yeah, so far I've been having fun. A little frustrated with the game, but fun nonetheless. Alrighty, well I think we're gonna end this part here. Don't forget, if you like what you see, click the like and subscribe button. That would help me out a lot. Yeah, I hope to see you next time on Planet Zoo.